It's not a bird, it's not a plane, it's Superhero Slate. It's a weekly podcast where we talk about everything that's great. Like movies, TV, superheroes. It's Superhero Slate. Oh, yeah.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Superhero Slate, the show where we run down the latest superhero entertainment news.
We love TV, movies, and superheroes, so let's talk it all out.
My name is Chris.
And my name is Mike.
Who opened this can right before we started recording because I heard it.
I was so thirsty, I could not wait.
I heard it. This week, we get to discuss the people versus Gorilla Grodd, whatever that means.
Yes.
to the common folk. Marvel adds another movie date to their schedule. We can talk about that. I did update our upcoming releases page last week, so that is currently updated with everything we know, including TV shows. We're going to talk about slightly reviews, I guess, of Lanterns Episode 1 and X-Men 97 Season 2 on today's episode and more.
Yeah, Chris, I feel like we are in classic Superhero Slate podcast territory. Like, we're fresh off a couple of cons. We're anticipating a big movie release in a couple of months.
We got merch. We got new merch.
We got new merch. New superhero TV shows premiering that we're going to talk about. I finally got a chance to watch some movies that are relatively new. So it feels like we're like in classic territory. And also, I did not look at any of the show notes today, so that's another classic of Mike will be surprised just like everybody else today.
Fuck it, we're doing it live is essentially how the status is for today here. So I'm going to jump into I'm just real fast. I want to thank everyone who reached out about the old video games I'm cleaning up in my garage. Because I literally have I think it was like 16 in Nintendo 64s in that collection, and that's just some of the ones I was able to clean yesterday. It's amazing what a little soap and water can do for some of that. And then today, just before this, Mike, I am getting old because I was on the floor cleaning not Nintendo, Sega Genesis cartridges. Are you familiar with those? Like
yes.
Getting a Q-tip with some alcohol on it and like rubbing the little pins on the inside to clean them up. And you're just hunched over on the floor. I'm like, oh man, 5 to 7 year old me would have loved this to death. But you pushing 40, I am just over sitting on the floor by all means. So. That was fun, and I got some HD DVDs this weekend. That short-lived brand of DVD that lived for a while, and I thought that was really fun. So anyway, I've been living in the past this weekend because I don't want to think about the future. But Mike, you have been watching movies here. I have seen one of them. I said the mall I was in yesterday felt like was in one of them, and then the third one is actually relevant to one of the movies we're going to talk about later. So. Let's kick you off.
Yes. I promise I'll keep this brief since we have a whole show to get to here. Finally watched Supergirl. I don't know why everyone was so angry about it. I thought it was totally fine. This movie would be like very much at home with kind of any other kind of like okay Marvel movie, right? I could, put this right up parallel to like a Doctor Strange or like an Ant-Man or something like that. So anybody like losing their minds over this movie was just out of control. The only thing annoying about it was I think you brought it up in your kind of quick review of like, she does just kind of always lose her powers, which is kind of annoying. Yeah,
I think you're probably right. Like it's probably not as bad as I think, but I can't tell you a single thing about this movie after watching it like its release weekend. Like I'm like, what is something I can pull out of this? The villain is just mean to be mean, pretty much it. That's it. And somehow Lobo's motorcycle can land on top of a spaceship. I don't know if it can fly. They didn't really explain that too well. The anger behind, I don't know why people are so angry. I guess a lot of people like the original source material, but I agree with you. Like I wasn't angry at it. I'm just like, I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed in what she gave us. But that's me. You're probably a little happier off that, but.
Yeah, it was fine. I mean, I guess this is the advantage of catching something late, just casually watching it on your own at home. There's not a whole lot built into the
You didn't pay money for it. You didn't pay
I'm
money
not
for it,
losing.
did you?
I'm not losing out on anything really. So yeah, I'd be happy to see this character again. It was nice seeing the background to kind of Krypton. I thought that was kind of interesting. I'm sure Krypton is very thoroughly explored in the comic books, but if you've been listening to us for like the past decade, like we don't deep dive too much into the lore of DC. Chris way more so than me. So any sort of like lore on like Krypton is always like, oh, this is fun. Like I'm sure it's like unique and it's like guns like spin on it, but I liked it. That was kind of fun.
The only thing I'm going to stand by this even more so this week, I wish we would have seen more of the lived in DCU in here. Like if we had seen a Green Lantern in one of those like bars or like on one of those planets, like they're space cops, right? We just learned about the space cops this week. I would have loved to see a non-human Green Lantern show up at some point and be like, look, like this is a problem. Things are going on here. We're tracking, you know, or it could have just been a small cameo, could have been a small scene, like nothing huge, but like I really wish they would have tied in everything with the DC a little bit more, because it feels like this is like very one-off-ish and not like I don't think she'll ever go back and deal with these people ever again. Maybe Lobo, but that's me, and that's just fresh because we just saw Lanterns less than a week ago.
Which we will be talking about, so stay tuned. And then I had a bit of a double feature, I would say, of Backrooms and Obsession, the kind of viral internet directors, big screen debuts. I finally caught both of them. I don't really want to compare them just because like the directors kind of come from a comparable background. I'd say like very different types of movies. I like both of them. I think overall I had more fun with Backrooms, but Obsession had the better ending. But I'm looking forward to like the expansion of like this Backrooms universe. You know, they already have like the second one under development, or they're looking for like screenwriters for it and everything. So looking forward to more Backrooms lore. We would never really put this in our show notes, but the director Kane Parsons just released a new Backrooms video on his YouTube channel, which I just happened to come across because I was looking up Backrooms lore on YouTube, and he like, oh wow, Kane Parsons just dropped a new Backrooms video. So it's basically like this is what would be on the special features in like a normal filming environment. You know, you get the DVD, oh here's the extras, you get this little bonus, or it's like a Marvel one-shot type of deal. But he just put it straight on his YouTube channel, and it was kind of fun to watch it right after watching the movie.
Well, and that's that's where he got his background, right? That's where the Backrooms started. He started doing the Backrooms videos on YouTube. So, I mean, that makes sense to kind of bring that back because, and correct me if I'm wrong, I don't know, I haven't looked into this too much. It's all supposed to still be connected to his YouTube shorts, right? The Backrooms, like the shorts and the movie are like all within the same kind of universal.
It's a unique lore in a sense of like it was crowdsourced. Like Kane Parsons wasn't the originator of Backrooms. It was just kind of like this attempt to kind of use his like Blender skills to like render this kind of like creepy pasta that was starting to float around on the internet. But he's kind of been dubbed like the de facto's backroom guy now because he's contributed so much to it. But it is kind of cool because it's very much like a crowd worked or open source. That's what I'm looking for. It's like a piece of open source software almost. But it's kind of a cool thing where it's like, it's not like some like greedy studio came in and like co-opted it. It's just like, oh no, they're going to let the nerd that's really good at it just make it. So I'm looking forward to more. I'm down for more Backrooms.
Well, the mall I was in this weekend looked like the Backrooms. Like it was a old mall that is shutting down, and like everything's empty, fluorescent lighting, and the secondhand store we were going into was in the basement of a mall. I've never been into a basement of a mall before. So it was wild. I was like, oh man, this is exactly how this movie feels.
Liminal spaces are so interesting. I don't think it's a Kane Pixels YouTube video, but I think there's a separate kind of Backrooms creator who made one that's inside of like a liminal mall space, and there's like a creature chasing you, but the creature is kind of like affixed to two wheels, so it can't really like go up steps, but it's like always following you, and it's like really creepy, and like if I can find it, I'll send it to you, but I would recommend it.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's awesome. And then the other one you saw here is I actually crossed my news today because it lost a record. A $200 movie in China made more money than this percentage wise, but that's not anything to scoff at this. It's just more of a
Obsession was fun. It's kind of like a monkey's paw situation. There's an object called a one-wish willow that somebody uses to make a wish. But my favorite part about the movie is, like, in any other kind of like horror movie like this, like your character, finds the monkey paw at some sort of like vintage store or pawn shop or something, right? And then once everything goes wrong, they're going to rush back to that store later in the movie, right, to try to fix things. And then, like, the person behind the counter will be like, well, I don't know what you're talking about. We don't sell those things here. Or, like, they'll go back to the store and it's like an empty lot or something. That's usually kind of how they do it, so they don't have to explain the origin of it. But in this movie, like, he goes back to the store and there's plenty of One Wish Willows still there, and the guy behind the counter is like, well, yeah, of course the wishes come true. What'd you wish for? Wait, why'd you do that? That was dumb. So, like, it's like everybody else in the universe kind of understands that these things work, and they kind of like judge him for like, why would you make this wish? That's really silly to do. So it was a kind of like a fun, slightly comedic twist on the trope. But yeah, I like both of them. So that is my little kind of Mike's movie corner at the top of the show.
And you just like me, we were also able to finish X-Men 97 this week somewhere in our busy schedule. So we'll talk about that at the end of the episode. So let's jump into the news here. First and foremost, I want to talk about the Odyssey. You ought to see it. Sorry, I'll show myself out. It's actually still making money at the box office. I saw it. I think it was like number 3 overall this weekend. And Spider-Man's still number 1. Insidious was number 2, and this was number 3 out in theaters. And what is interesting about this is that this will release on digital, VOD, and physical on the same day, November 17th. So normally we see people or production companies release the digital first for purchasing, and then about a couple weeks to a month later, the physical one comes out. But it seems like Christopher Nolan is taking the approach is like, I don't want to sell digital copies. I want to sell everything at the same time. And I think he did this with Oppenheimer, but I wasn't really like clamoring to get a copy of Oppenheimer at the same time. But I would love to get my hands on an IMAX copy of this, and that's kind of what drew my attention to it. I don't think he's missing out on any sales by doing this. Do you think this might be the way forward, or do you think it's just Christopher Nolan gets to do what he wants because he's Christopher Nolan?
Exactly that. He gets to do whatever he wants. He's the anointed director. Every actor wants to work with him. Every studio wants to release a movie from him. He can seemingly take any idea, which I've said this before. Like, the Odyssey is like such like obviously it's an iconic story, but like, to me it's almost boring because it's like, oh, it's the mandatory reading I had to do in high school. Like, why would I want to see like a movie? But like, he always like crushes it. So yeah, he gets to do whatever he wants.
Yeah, I was joking around this weekend. One of the things I got was like this little black and white TV/radio combo that's like portable, and I was like, I should watch the Odyssey on this, just the way Christopher Nolan intended, on a little 3-inch tube TV in black and white. But I mean, honestly, I think I am not going out of my way to see the 70mm IMAX screenings, but I would love to get my hands on the 4K Blu-ray, because I think a lot of them do have what should we call it, the IMAX versions. I think his releases with the IMAX versions on there. The only movie lately I haven't seen that hasn't done that is Dune. I don't think they've released the IMAX version of Dune on physical, which would be kind of I kind of wish they did, but they didn't.
Okay, Chris, I must butt in real quick before I'm sure your expertly crafted segue. The video I was going to send you.
Oh yeah.
It's called the Rolling Giant, and it is by Kane Pixels actually. So it's like a 46. Yeah, it's like a 46-minute video. So I will find the best time link to send this to you. And you can watch it at your leisure. So if anybody out there is listening, it's called The Rolling Giant. Yeah. And then for some reason, in parentheses, The Oldest View Part 3. Don't know exactly what that means. But if you want more backroom stuff, there you go.
Well, there you go. And because you ruined my segment, we'll talk about Rolling Giants with God of War casting. For those who have been fan casting Dave Bautista for the past several weeks, since Ryan Hurst has stepped out, he is officially cast to play Kratos in a live-action series for Amazon. We talked about this briefly last week with the theory, like, he'll probably have to pull up. I don't see him doing the voice in the seriousness. But he's an actor. He's paid to act. He's not paid to be the same thing and everything. I just can't imagine it myself, but I am looking forward to hopefully some costume and set photos to, it's not appease me. I don't care. Just to see what they're coming up with for him in this role, I did
see a fun clip in the Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas special when Drax is in front of the Chinese theater. Somebody takes a picture with him and says, "Oh my God, I can't believe I got a picture with the God of War." So,
oh yeah,
full circle.
Yeah, that lines up. So he's officially cast playing that. So good for him, and they'll probably get kicking back up on that later. News that Mike didn't know about and probably hasn't watched: Golden Axe, the arcade game, SEGA game from the 90s, is getting an adult animated series coming to Paramount Plus on September 16th. I've included the trailer here. It seems to be essentially a little bit of a, hey, this, it's a little bit of a parody, self-aware thing. We have to kill the boss. So they're like, well, how do we do it? Like, well, we're going to go through and fight a bunch of little guys, some mini bosses, and then kill the big boss. I know this has got the guy who is voicing Liam McIntyre, Wolverine, in the upcoming Wolverine game, is voicing Axe Battler, which is the main dude. And I think Danny Pudi is the main like point of view character, like the non-fighting character who's in this as well. So I like Golden Axe. It's one of my favorite. I love side scroller, beat 'em ups. This looks like a fun little journey for this game adaptation here.
Honestly, I'm shocked in this day and age, Paramount Plus attempting to make anything cool. Yeah. Like, to me, Paramount Plus is like, unfortunately, like the lamest streaming service. I feel like it really just exists to as a place to put those like nightly drama, like cop shows, like FBI or Fire Department Chicago or whatever, and it's like,
Rookie.
Okay, they're doing it. Yeah, exactly. It's like stuff like that. So it makes me go, how did this even make it to Paramount? But the animation looks kind of fun. It's like high quality, but also
it feels
still rooted in kind of like an adult kind of comedic style.
What's that Star Trek show they have? The animated Star Trek show. It looks like it might be the same company that does that.
Oh yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, so I think it's a Star Trek, but like, either way, 10 episodes. I assume they're probably 20 minutes or so. I'm gonna probably check this out. This looks like something I don't have to actually watch on day one, but something I could just binge watch around a little bit. But it looks like a pretty good time, and I guess retelling of the story of a game where you just start up, pick a character, and then start battling across the stuff. With that, so yeah, you can check out that link in our things. 10 episodes coming September 16th. I don't know if they're all September 16th. I don't know Paramount Plus's release strategy, but they could be there. Moving on, I got Lanterns up early. Mike didn't get me the image until later, but we'll go ahead and talk about Lanterns if you want to, because it's just the first episode. Yeah. I don't think there's any spoilers here. So if you haven't watched it, you want to do this, you use time codes in the show notes, you can jump ahead. But Lanterns dropped on HBO Max last Sunday, taking the place of House of the Dragon. And right now, the first episode is the highest rated DCU property released so far.
Wow.
So this week, Mike, you've watched the lowest rated and the highest rated, all within one week. It's also had the biggest DCU show turnout on streaming as well. I don't know if this is all DC properties like Titans and everything else, Creature Commandos, or if it's just DCU proper, but it had a huge turnout for this. Anecdotally, I will say you probably have a similar story. My wife doesn't know anything about Green Lantern, couldn't tell you what it is. Maybe the Ryan Reynolds thing, just by parody over the past 15 years. But on we watched it on Monday because we didn't stay up Sunday night. On Monday, she was like, "Are all the episodes out of this or just one?" I'm like, "Just one." She's like, "Damn." It's like, and then actually she's like, "Is the second episode out yet?" I'm like, "It's next week." So it was fun to see someone who has no relation to the show or characters be very enthralled with its story that it's telling so far. Mike, I'm probably the most adjacent to Green Lanterns. You less so. Tell me, let's hear what you thought about this.
Yeah, well, this also passed the wife test in my household too. We watched it, and she was like, "Oh, I'm down to watch more," and that's probably bearing the lead of I loved it. It was really, really well made. I love Kyle Chandler. I've loved his whole career. He's so charismatic, and I love it when he's just like playing this kind of like asshole character of like you kind of like you have no choice but to kind of stick with him because he has the ring and this guy's under training. So I love how no matter how much of an asshole he is, he's got no choice but to put up with them. I love the different timelines. It kind of I don't really know if that would be defined as like a television trope or if it's just kind of like a pretty principled, like elementary, like storytelling device. But I love it. You know, they did something kind of similar like back in the day with like the Arrow TV show for like the first couple seasons. It was like flashing back to Oliver Queen on the island training and then back to the present. So I find that really fun. And then at the end of the episode, they add that extra layer of like, oh, we're actually going to jump forward to present day too. So you kind of get to strut these three different timelines and you're trying to solve this mystery. And for as little as you get of like lantern powered stuff, it was surprisingly effective, right?
Yeah.
You know, if somebody would have told me of like, oh, they're going to make a Green Lantern show, but in the first episode, they're barely going to do any lantern stuff. You know, it's really going to feel like they're trying to save money. And if the CW did it, they'd probably give you more. But I feel like we're getting less, but higher quality in this. I mean, it seems like they're going to build to something, right? They had like that trailer for what's to come in the weeks, and I saw at least 3 explosions at different locations back to back.
Yeah.
So it looks like we got a lot more coming down the pipeline.
And I think to your point, you know, you don't need the effects when the story's so enthralling. Like when you're actually like talking, like the characters are interesting, the mystery is there. It actually is way more entertaining than just throwing green effects at a screen, right? The constructs of a Green Lantern, which is really fun. To me, I'm on board with this. The multi-story points of the back and forth, it kind of reminds me a little bit of Westworld season 1, if you remember that, where you know it's not just like a week later. Like this is like 10 years and then like all the way 96, 2016, 2026. So that's really fun to see. We don't beat the dead horse of like how John Stewart got to be a Green Lantern, like quote unquote in training sidekick. So that's kind of fun to see, or not fun to see. It's like they didn't weigh us down with the backstory. I'm sure there's an episode coming where we'll get some of that with that. So that's fun. I enjoyed I thought of you, Mike, whenever Kyle Chandler was on a high school football field set of bleachers early on. I'm like, he's getting his coach that he wanted so bad here. Back with that. Yeah, I think there's a lot of mystery here. Garrett Dillahunt plays an interesting villain. I assume he's a villain. He seems menacing. Someone with that many guns and that much pull to tell the sheriff what's going on. It'll be interesting to see this play out. But yeah, I think there's a lot of good things are layering here. The interrogation of the alien was pretty fun to see. It was like, oh yeah, you know basic stuff, but you don't know pop culture, and that's how you tell if an alien actually knows. Or is an alien versus like someone who would understand like what Harry Potter was, right? That's what he used as an example. It was really fun. That
was really clever. I mean, I think the underrated part of this universe for DC overall, which I keep forgetting because we don't get a lot of it in Supergirl, and it's been a minute since I've watched Superman, of like this lived-in universe. It's so cool to kind of like, we don't have to drudge through the origin story of Green Lantern or explain how superheroes exist in this universe. He's just kind of like this celebrity that flies around and like solves crime, but he's kind of outside of the legal loophole, so they can just like take him to jail. It's just it's great. It's so fun. It makes me excited for more DC stuff after just this one episode. I know like people were a little down after Supergirl. I don't agree with them, but this definitely brings me up, and I'm sure it brought a lot of other people up since you said the reviews are so well for it.
Yeah, and I think to your point, like this feels like a universe lived in, but like Supergirl didn't feel like a universe lived in kind of thing. But like I'm not here to compare those two. I think what works for Lanterns is like obviously the dichotomy of two partners, one who's over the bullshit but has to deal with it, one who's like, oh, I'm going to do it my way because I trust my gut. I trust my gut on everything. There's no like fact here. So I am interested to see kind of how this plays off over the next season. They are working on obviously season 2. We've talked about that before, so there's more of this. I knowing that what's ahead, we did see a preview of Nathan Fillion's guy Gardner in there, right? And I was making up, and like he has technically been in everything but Supergirl, live action related. So Superman, Peacemaker, and Lanterns. So he's definitely the Agent Coulson, if you will.
He's the glue.
Yeah. For this, so obviously I'm excited to see how Nathan Fillion got got Gardner and Green Lantern in the future. Or modern day, what's going on with Jon Stewart's. He's obviously older because they put a goatee on him. That's how he's in the future. That he's older. You put a goatee on him, and it's not the same timeline. But yeah, a bunch of mystery, a bunch of alien stuff. They're not shying away from that. I'm looking forward to watching episode 2 tomorrow, probably. I don't know. Maybe we can stay up late on Sunday nights, but. My wife goes to bed pretty early with that. So yeah, very, very excited for that. It was it is interesting to the thing I would say, the one thing that I was like, oh, Jon Stewart, he's a stand-up guy, all this other stuff, and then he like the whole like sleeping with the bad guy's wife unknowingly was pretty funny. I was like, oh, his insanely toxic dad, which, borderline, if not definitely, child abuse victim. That's a pretty dark origin story for this character. Yeah. I wondered why they never explained why they were going to make him turn off the TV. Like, what was his dad going to do if he saw him watching the TV? Other than shoot an apple off his head, because he did it anyway. So I was like, but he was on his phone with his dad like very early on, so his dad's still around. Or at least in 2016. So we'll see kind of how that plays off as we go through the show. Very excited for it. I look forward to touching base when this wraps up. I think it's like 8 episodes or so. I don't think it's 10. I think it's 8. And we'll come back and do that. The other thing we can look forward to in the DC universe is The People versus Gorilla Grodd, that DC crime show that has been kind of bubbling underneath a while. It officially has a name. And it's a comedy TV series rather than a true crime drama, which I sent you this. James Gunn said that our first true crime drama, like Lanterns is true crime drama. Like that is a true crime thing, like not this. But so they did confirm Jimmy Tatro's Gorilla Grodd. In the release, they do say, we already know Skyler Gisondo is a pitch perfect as Jimmy Olsen. We can't wait for fans to experience Jimmy Tatro's captivating, hilarious portrayal of Grodd. So that is the key factor for a comedy here. We have returning cast. Skyler Gisondo as Jimmy Olsen, Beck Bennett as Steve Lombard, Michaela Hoover as Cat Grant, and Wendell Pierce as Perry Whitt from Superman. Before we get into the synopsis part, Mike, any of this strike you as interesting? Any commentary before we get into this?
I feel like I saw a descriptor that this is going to be kind of like not found footage style, but like maybe like interview, like documentary style, I think is what they said. So I think it's going to look visually different. So at least if this is going to be kind of like I would say an odd offshoot, at least they're going to approach it from a unique way. So you can kind of mentally, maybe put it aside if it's not for you. But I did see a little casting tidbit news that I don't really think it's very consequential, but it's an actress, Mary Holland, that I really like. I follow her on social media, and she was cast in it recently as just some random character called Sandra. No idea what Sandra's going to do, but I like Mary Holland. So like if she kind of like, signed on to the project, maybe there's maybe that's a good sign.
Yeah.
Overall. So, I mean, I've already said before, I'm a big fan of Skyler Gisondo. But also, I do have to reinstate such a strange universe to just start building out like random Jimmy Olsen side TV shows. Like we eviscerated the Sony villain universe for this like possible Aunt May spinoff that may or may not have been real. So I feel like we kind of need to come with a little similar energy for a Superman best friend spinoff.
Look,
this is kind of odd.
I think they should focus on what they announced already, or at least say, hey, look, we what we announced isn't working out. Here's our new plan. Because this doesn't feel like a plan. This just feels like they threw something at the wall and they're like, okay, we guess this is sticking most than anything else. So the synopsis is the series follows a super intelligent ape who is convicted of murdering his father, the king of Gorilla City. In an 8-part true's in parentheses here, crime docuseries, the Daily Planet's Jimmy Olsen reopens the case, investigating whether Gorilla Grodd was wrongly convicted in one of Metropolis's most famous murder trials. Why? Okay. First and foremost here, Gorilla City is like not in Metropolis, so why is he convicted in Metropolis for this? Okay. I understand this is a comedy series. It's probably got him, behind bars for most of this. It's a docu-series, which tells me it's kind of maybe like a parody docu-series as well. It's going to be maybe some like, what do they call it? It's like single cam kind of stuff, right? Where it's kind of like they're following around, or maybe like a multi-cam follow people around kind of things. We know Jimmy Olsen is good with the ladies from Superman as well, so interested to see if he pulls any of that into here. But I don't know what to make of this. But the only thing I can think of is Gorilla Grodd is normally known as a Flash villain. Do you think they might bring in a crime scene investigative person, aka Barry Allen, into this show? Because technically he was a crime scene investigator, right, in his day job as Barry Allen before he was Flash.
True. I didn't really think about that angle. Be an interesting way to introduce one of the most iconic superheroes of all time into your universe through a parody true crime series that's not even starring him.
Yeah, that's kind of how they did it in Arrow. Not parody necessarily, but they did bring Barry Allen as a side character into an episode, an Arrow episode, to then show he got struck by lightning and get his own show. Yeah. So, but
yeah, I will keep my heart open to this. Just I feel like there's more positives than red flags at the moment. So like I said, if I had to just like gauge the DCU stuff that's been placed in front of me, I would say I've liked more of it than I haven't. So I guess there's no reason I shouldn't be slightly optimistic.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna be a notch or two below you. On a scale of 1 to 10, I'm a 5 for this, ambivalent. Because like I said, I want to see them actually move this universe forward, and this doesn't feel like it's doing anything. Like this, I feel like we're just spinning the wheels here with the very, very talented cast. Nothing against the cast, nothing against anybody here, but like, boy, like there's a ton of different things you could have done for this. But we'll see if anything else gets off the ground. I know we talked last week. I don't know, a lot of things are maybe this was announced before, or like in works before the Paramount Warner Brothers merger, right? Like that's coming up. Like a lot of things are probably on hold, but this seems like a very expensive show for a streaming service that, isn't necessarily, might not bring in subscribers. So I will keep I'll point to you and your optimism and be like, yeah, buddy, I hope you get something good out of this. Moving on to shows that I didn't think we'd get several seasons. Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man is confirmed to get seasons 3 and 4 in the works of Marvel Television. And Josh Keaton, who voiced Spectacular Spider-Man in the animated show, will voice Eddie Brock in the upcoming season 2 of this show. I think you're a big Spectacular Spider-Man fan, right, Mike? You're familiar with the show of
Spectacular Spider-Man,
the animated one from like 2012, I think, or like it was the one that got cut short. You looking it up?
I don't think the only real animated Spider-Man that I've dug into was the 90s one, and then the MTV one a little bit. I watched some of that.
I'm so sorry for that. I have nightmares thinking about that effects. Yeah, so Spectacular Spider-Man was 2008 to 2009. It was a CW show to begin with and went to Disney XD. But it was like, it's been really popular. It's a really good short, like 26 episodes, 13 episodes each, kind of thing. It's very, very tight, very focused. But like, so he's returning to voice Eddie Brock in this. So season 3 and 4 are in the works. So I think this goes back to I think what we've talked about. Marvel Television is trying to get on a yearly release schedule, and a lot of people don't know this, but we've talked about it before, so hopefully they remember. In animation, they tend to do the voice recording of like 2 seasons at a time, so they can do the production pretty close together, right? That's why most shows get at least 2 seasons. And it seems like they did 1, and now they're going to do 2, 3, and 4 for this. But Spider-Man's a popular property right now. Its movies bordering on 2.2 billion worldwide. It seems like they doubled down on some Spider-Man stuff, right? For this. Do you have any interest in more of this show? It's been forever since I watched it. I can't remember a whole lot other than it's not the show we thought it was going to be. It's not like...
it's like I remember liking it, but it's not like a day one release, I gotta watch it right away type of deal.
Mm-hmm.
If they're smart, they'll strategically release it, maybe in a little bit of a drought. Where there's not a lot of other kind of comic book stuff to indulge in, then check it out.
Is that season 2? Is that January? I think it's January. Yeah. So January is a big drought for that. Also, Marvel has no movies between December and December of next year, so they could do some stuff with that. So anyway, Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man 3 and 4 in the works, and Josh Keaton returning. Moving on to Brand New Day. Like I said, that movie just trucking number 1 again this weekend. Week 4, 2.2 billion worldwide. It is pretty close. It might pass Avengers Endgame domestically, Mike, by the end of its run here. So we might have some more record-breaking announcements for that next week. But for now, let's talk about the Art of Spider-Man Brand New Day book. It has come under fire for including a very obvious, and I'm going to use AI-generated concept in this. And I've included the image in here because I want to get your take on this. Because I don't get AI right away. Someone else has gone on record, there's taxis in the street that are kind of blurring together. In the bottom right, it's supposed to say a deli, but it's like DEII grocery. I think it's a shadow bleeding on. The fire escapes on the left-hand side and the light are kind of blurring together. This looks like someone's like, this is AI, and other people like, this is Photoshop's content-aware tool, and mixing 2 different photos together. I don't know which one it leans into more, because I've seen content aware tool do shit like this before in my limited use of Photoshop.
I feel like either way, no matter what the answer is, like this was like bad QA. This shouldn't have been included in the book regardless.
Yes, 100%.
I think the problem with AI art or like AI tools inside of Photoshop and stuff, it's like a lot of AI stuff can pass the test of the human eye if you're just glancing at it, right? So if you're somebody that has to QA an entire art book, you're flipping and flipping and flipping through pages, or maybe just like keying on your keyboard, going from next to next to next. So if you just glance at this, this is good, especially if maybe you're looking at it in a series and maybe there's a couple other images before or after it that are, either the same or totally fine. So I feel like if somebody was able to have maybe more time to look over the book, this never would have made it. into it because
Yeah.
obviously like what the hell is going on here in the middle? That's messed up. It's kind of funny. There's like another conversation I have where the behind the scenes of Supergirl, they said that they caught like somebody using AI to do like kind of like concepting for what Lobo could look like. And there's obviously like a huge, ethical conversation that you can have around this type of stuff. But there is a point where like none of this stuff made it to the final film, right? None of this made it to the screen. This was kind of all just like using technology to explore options, which I feel like is a lot more approachable. But that being said, like, don't put it in your book.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, yeah.
I think...
Yeah. Well, I think you're right. Like, this is, like... I think the thing with this is not a single identifiable Spider-Man or Marvel character. Is it, like, not even a person is in this, right? Like, that you can notify. It's like... This is what we think this New York street should look like, not necessarily, and I think that's even worse. Like, we don't need a picture of what New York street should look like. They should just include New York photos in this. But like,
yeah, that was my favorite take that I saw this week on the internet. It's like, yes, famously under photographed New York City.
Yeah.
We must use AI to recreate it. It's so silly. Yeah, you can even like I can go on like royalty-free photograph websites and find just image that you can just straight up steal, and there's like no image rights to it of like New York.
I'm pretty sure you can go into Spider-Man 2, the video game, and just enter photo mode at some sort of intersection and get this same kind of view.
Yeah, I think people need to kind of, unfortunately, shift their perspective of what is happening at big Hollywood studios. Every big Hollywood studio company is hearing from up on high of like, you need to use AI in your workflows because we just paid like an ungodly amount of money for all of these tokens from all of these AI companies, and we want to be able to tell our board, our stockholders on the next quarter that we're leveraging AI, so our stock price will go up. That is just matter of fact. So so I would take this as maybe this is almost like hostile compliance. Maybe these people that are working on these movies do not want to use AI, but they're being told to. So like, we'll placate them. We'll try to meet them halfway. We'll do all of our kind of like pre-concepting or some of our pre-concepting with us, so they'll get off of our back.
Right.
That could be a reality that, we unfortunately no one's going to tell us because they got to keep it secret. Right. So I don't know. Maybe I'll lean on that idea. It makes me sleep better at night.
And I also would believe a company such as Disney or Sony, whoever did this, one of the two large companies, probably has their own internal AI models. They're not going to Chat GPT to do this or Claude. They probably like, hey, use the Sony AI, which we trained on all of our stuff, which has the same font as Spider-Man, the movie in the PlayStation 3. Like, they just happen to use the same AI, but it's more of a joke here. But like, yeah, I agree. Like, I think this could be like, hey, we put this in here to draw attention that people are making us do this, even though we don't want to. But at the same time, I think there is a over assumption. Like, people have come to use the phrase AI slop to just be like things that don't look good, and that's not necessarily the case. If this is like, again, like 2 or 3 photos, and then you're using content aware tool. Content aware tool's been around for years. Right, it's machine learning. It's what AI is under core of AI, but it's just a little stupider. And I could see them totally like a Photoshop being like, "Yeah, this looks like there should be some taxis here. We don't know." And like bad work does not mean AI is what I'm trying to get.
Yeah. Unfortunately, there's not a lot of room for nuanced conversations on the internet, and I feel like the worst thing these big AI companies have done is inflated all of this technological advancement under like one banner. Like, I actually think it is kind of badass that you can give like this huge treasure trove of like medical data, right, to a computer, and it can use all of these artificial intelligence algorithms to like, I don't know, maybe cure cancer. Or I'm like a big proponent of full self-driving vehicles because humans are utterly garbage at driving vehicles. And if you could imagine a world right now where cars didn't exist and somebody tried to pitch it, you would think they're crazy. Like, wait, you want to give humans these gigantic metal death traps on wheels, and they're just allowed to drive them on the road, and we're all going to drive them next to each other. And you're going to let people do it as young as 16, like the crazy teenagers that are like jumping off of roofs and like doing like parkour and like hanging from like telephone towers. Like you're going to let them drive. Like that just does not pass the sniff test. And I used to be really excited to talk about self-driving cars, like with people, especially in a traffic ridden city like Los Angeles. But now people are just like, oh no, that's AI. Like I don't want AI driving my cars. Like this wasn't in the conversation a couple years ago, before all these like AI companies hit the screen. Like now I feel like it's poisoning the cool stuff, like self-driving cars. I think that's cool.
Again, the core underlying is machine learning. Like again, a car driving, there's like, it's using data to make it facts. It's not like, oh my gosh, we need to have a conversation about this, or like you know what, like what is a self-affirming AI? You're like, oh, what, you're right, I was wrong, kind of things. The ones that suck up to you. Like I'll be honest. I mean, I was using AI earlier to literally go through my consoles in that photo and be like, how many of these do I have, and which ones are different? Because there are so many variations of like PS1s, like ones that, do you know, PlayStation 1 originally one version had the red, white, and yellow RCA ports, so you didn't have to use the Sony adapter.
That's cool.
Yeah, you would know that by looking at the front of it, would you? And I was like, okay, well, I want to have one of every model in my collection as like a little museum. But I don't know even where to start with that stuff. So it just helps me pull all that information together. But
yes.
Like, yeah.
Do not come at me with your AI flyers. They're all gross people. Stop using AI to make flyers. I hate them.
On the flip note of that, I was at the state fair this week for work, and most of the little shops are using their AI flyers from ChatGPT.
Oh my God. Chris, I think the worst offender is when people are using AI to like render food. You know, it's just like, stop it. I walked by a place in the mall yesterday. It was like a crepe place, and every single food was like an AI generated image. It's just like, you have the highest quality like smartphone. Everybody has like an amazing camera in their pocket. Just make the crepe and take a picture of it. Like, what are you doing? I hate it.
I will say, in that regard, my dad has started a hot dog truck this summer, and and you can even tell, the less I know, the better with most stuff he does. But I taught him how to use ChatGPT to make his menus and like items, so I don't have to deal with it in Photoshop anymore. So I will say it does help me put the work back on people who, you know, can do it themselves. But the long story short of this, I'm not. Go ahead.
Your father's quite the Renaissance man. I thought he had a dehydrated candy business. Now he's
doing both. He's doing both.
Oh. All right, candy and hot dogs. I mean, he's after my own heart.
That Venn diagram is almost a circle. That Venn diagram is almost a complete circle. But anyway, the whole point of this is, I don't think, you know, I am not like, oh my God, they're using AI. You know, we do know they fired a bunch of concept artists. I don't know if this is Marvel or Sony at the end of the day, but the point of this being, I wouldn't put this in a book that people are paying a lot of money for. Those art books are not cheap. They are finely crafted books when they're done right, but I would not put this in a book and make it public. But QA is the enemy of progress here. But let's talk about Marvel Studios a little bit more. I talked about it at the beginning of the episode, as that they have a new I guess movie on here, but some other things come up. So 5 production companies have been set up for Marvel Studios after D23 and San Diego Comic-Con. One is called Atlas Hall, which is for X-Men. One's called Fragment, which is Black Panther 3. One's called Throttle, which people believe is tied to Ghost Rider. 2 more are there. One's called Dredge. The Dredge 1 and Dredge 2 are actually ships from Marvel that crashed during the Annihilation Wave on Earth. So people think this is Nova, related to Nova and the Nihilus villain. And then Veil has been announced, and people think this is a Disney Plus project. Could literally be anything across the board for Disney Plus, but they believe Veil is a Disney Plus product.
Interesting.
And then they added a new movie for November 11th, 2029. So that makes 3 movies in 2029 as well.
November is a unique, I feel like almost like a dying release date, right? I feel like we used to get like I think Doctor Strange. The only reason I remember November is my birthday is in November. So like sometimes it's just like, oh, what movie can I go see for my birthday? But it seems like recently everything's been pushed out of November and to December to like take more advantage of like the holiday, and maybe Thanksgiving in the United States isn't delivering as much box office revenue. But November's interesting. So it's probably not going to be an Avengers title. Because I feel like that would be relegated for
also
December.
Be too soon. That's less than 2 years after Secret Wars. So probably not. Again, I think Thor Ragnarok came out in November, right?
Maybe. I mean, I think I'm more curious with this like Disney Plus project. Like, what is the future of Disney Plus and Marvel? I mean, I don't think Daredevil is going to be this perpetual TV show that goes on for 10, 12 seasons and it's just continually in the background.
I think it's done after season 3, to be completely honest.
Kingpin can only be the bad guy so many times, right?
Yeah.
So I'm really curious like what the strategy here overall is going to be. Honestly, I would be totally fine with just like one good Marvel show every year. Like I don't like... just like when The Mandalorian was like the only Star Wars show, like once a year, like I was totally fine with it, right? Obviously, I think Disney Plus has different demands for content, but I would be fine with just one really good Marvel show every year.
What about, they're not one-shots, the special presentations, which is essentially like one good episode of a character?
Maybe they could do one special presentation and like one TV show every year. I think that would be a safe cadence.
Yeah. So, it could be anything. They were like, it could be, like Inhumans or like something else. Like we have no idea what the show is. I'm like, Vale is an interesting name. I can't tie it to anything else. This is, will be in production probably around February, I think, for some of these. I think X-Men's, no, we'll talk about something else here in February. So like this is coming up, pretty soon, but we'll, I guess, learn more as they kind of get into production with that. I will say the Throttle company for Ghost Rider was registered in the U.S. and is filming there, not the U.K. like the other shows and movies, and it's most likely due to locations that are not easy to replicate in the U.K. for the show. So they're gonna be like, okay, well, we actually have to go to places in the U.S. rather than just rely on a green screen and stuff like that.
Also, Gosling could have pull. Right.
Yeah.
Huge megastar. He's like, no, I don't want to leave home. I want to be in the States.
And Sean Levy,
I don't want to go to London for half a year,
Oh, Sean Levy is Canadian and American filmmaker. But yeah, so but see, here's the thing. Gosling was they just did Star Wars over in the UK. So maybe you're a little bit right. He's tired of being over there, but at the same time, he did do Star Wars at Pinewood.
Sick of it. He doesn't want your eels and your parsley mash.
He can't be eating fish and chips on it and looking that good for a whole nother movie. So
honestly, he probably loves it. I think celebrities love going to Europe.
Yeah, but yeah. So we're gonna see what that is. That's also again kind of confirmed for the July 28th, 2028 date that we talked about last week with X-Men. Real fast. Also, Avengers: Secret Wars filming is starting in September in the UK. They already got some stuff up. It's on quote unquote on hiatus for a couple weeks, but they're gonna start picking up in September. Of all the things I've read online about Doomsday, all these stupid rumors and stupid takes and stupid leak synopsis, I know not a goddamn thing about Secret Wars, and that is awesome. Like I know nothing about this. Like no one's even trying to theorize on it. They're just like, yeah, we're gonna get through Doomsday first. So I love going in blind to this production for this because we don't know anything.
Do you think they make it? The timeline? I mean, September, and this movie has got to be done and out the door by end of next year.
Let me see here. I want to go back and look at Doomsday. Was April through September of last year. September. Yeah, they'll be fine.
It's like a big. I mean, this is a big movie. I think that's the only thing that it's like. Oh, if we're talking like Ghost Rider, right, or like the Nova movie, okay, I could see the turnaround. But this is like supposedly like the biggest superhero movie of all time, and it's just like you're giving yourself like what, like 14 months?
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. I'll tell you. My guess. This is a big guess here. We saw. Remember that leaked concept art like a little over a year ago. Mm-hmm. How much of this is CG work that's already been in production that we don't know about?
Good point.
So like a lot of it's probably like if they're doing a whole town full of Hulks and like, you know, a true battle world, they probably have a lot of effects like already started and they're just waiting to align people up for the phasing and doing edits rather than actual full production from ground zero.
Yeah, that could be a good point. I mean, we do know from James Cameron's point of view with Disney, they kind of made Avatar 2 and 3 a little bit in conjunction. I'm sure for like tax purposes, there's like a technical begin production date for them, but yeah, you're probably right. There probably is some overlap, which we're not privy to.
Yeah, and so I think they'll be fine. I also think, you know, if we look at Infinity War and Endgame, the cast for Endgame was much tighter, if that makes sense, right? Like, you know, Infinity War was they had a tighter cast for Endgame. They might have a tighter cast for Secret Wars. And that's what maybe they're just waiting for schedules to line up. They'll be able to get everybody in place rather than trying to piece things together because they had a longer runway. So if this gets delayed, I will be mind blown. But I think Marvel, Disney, they have the dollars assigned to this to see it across the finish line on time, and I think they will.
And it would have to be a somewhat long delay too, like because like when you delay a video game that's not like to the caliber of like GTA, like where you really want to hit like holiday shopping season with it, right? You know, with like with other video games, like, oh, we can just like push it a month or two. You know, it's not that big of a deal. You know, you're just going to get it a couple weeks later. They can't do that with a movie, right? Yeah. If they push it, it's going to be like summer, you know, 2028 or whatever, which is going to throw everything else off.
Well, yeah, right. I mean, everything we've talked about, X-Men, Black Panther, Ghost Rider, would be domino affected. Now, Ghost Rider could be pushed back because technically I think that one's probably less affecting. But like X-Men's their kickoff, and that would go from May to probably that July date. Ghost Rider would be kicked out of July. Black Panther would still probably be November, and then Ghost Rider would start 2029. I think they would make that announcement now rather than later. I think, you know, obviously a movie of this caliber, you have to have all your schedules lined up already. Like you can't be guessworking once it starts. You got to have this kind of lined up. So I think they're aware of this and would be doing it. But honestly, to your point, I wouldn't be surprised if they announced it as much as I would be any other movie. But I do think they're going to hit that date. I think we'll be good. So, knock on wood. Also, speaking of Grand Theft Auto, have you seen the Grand Theft Auto leaks this week? Have you heard about this? Like, I wasn't going to bring it up, but like,
I've been slightly following the drama. Okay. It is kind of funny that like this game is like so gigantic that they're gonna premiere it on Netflix, and then somebody's like hostily leaking it. I was like, this is nuts. This is so crazy.
So they were gonna do the Netflix thing. This guy has a working copy of the game where he's been playing the game. Then he like shot his name, like his username or like this hacker, into the wall of a building so people know like it's the game. It's not like this is pre-rendered video from old. And then the guy minted like some sort of like some type of Bitcoin tied to this, and now he's got a dead now like so Take-Two, like they're subpoenaing Discord and all these other things to try to figure out who this is, and this guy now has a dead man switch set on the game. He's like, I've released copies out across multiple hosting things, and if I don't check in daily because you come and get me, the full game will be released online early. And I'm like, this is wild, like electronic digital warfare going on right now for a video game.
What's so funny to me is like it's like an experience though. Like, you know, you can theoretically leak a movie and maybe a certain percentage of people will just be like, oh great, I don't have to go and pay for the movie now. But like, this is a GTA game that's going to be around, if based on past games, for like literal decades. Like, I don't think they're so worried about it like cutting their legs out on like release day. People have already pre-ordered a ton. Like, the only people that would like not get it would be such like a minor amount of just like, oh, don't worry, I got a leaked copy of it from some dude, and I'll never be able to play online with it, and I'll never be able to update it, and it's probably not even fully finished anyway.
Well, that's the other part of this is like people will crack this game once it officially releases as well. Like, you're not stopping piracy in and of itself here. You're just stopping an early release, and like, you know, that's probably like the thing, like, oh, the spoilers, the story, the map. Like, they're even taking down flyovers of the map, and I'm like, well, the maps. I'm more interested in the game now that I've seen the map more than I was before seeing some gameplay trailer or seeing like your story trailer.
Some secret viral marketing here.
It is. I also am not buying this game because they're not releasing on physical, and I'm holding out for that because I am, as even though I'm in the minority, I am still a physical media collector, and I'm going to hold on to that a little bit, so I can play this game if it ever comes out on disc. All right, I was going to go through here. Naruto, Destin Daniel Cretton is going to start filming this movie in February 2027, and they have allegedly cast Charles Melton as Kakashi Hatake. I don't know if I pronounced this right. Never seen a Naruto in my life. He is known as the copy ninja. Now, this is only relevant for two things, Mike. Destin Daniel Cretton is he's going to do this next. They're not rushing Spider-Man out the door for another Spider-Man. Good. We don't need him to. Not every Spider-Man movie is a billion. Will crack a billy, but this one has cracked 2 billy, and I think the other one several years ago, 5 years ago, cracked 2 billy as well. Take a breather with them. Get your billies then. The other part of this is going to tie into our X-Men news here, is that Charles Melton was rumored to play Beast for X-Men movie, but now he's still apparently in talks to play Beast for X-Men, despite the Naruto casting. This is the guy who was in Beef Season 2. We talked about a little bit. I don't see why he couldn't play both movies, right? Like, if you're the copy ninja, the mentor of Naruto, you're probably not in the whole movie a lot. And then Beast is probably more of a mocap kind of thing, unless they're going like original.
Are you a Naruto guy? I don't know. I don't think.
No, I don't know. I don't know a goddamn thing about Naruto or Yu-Gi-Oh.
Same.
I'm just gonna put it out on the table here. I missed both of these.
I know a little bit more about Yu-Gi-Oh. I was caught up in the Yu-Gi-Oh trading card game and anime back in the day when I was but a child. Naruto, I don't really know much about. It was kind of like the next generation's Dragon Ball Z. I feel like, when I was kind of aging out of that stuff, the next generation was kind of like getting its claws into Naruto, because it was just like, hey, guess what? We found another anime with like tons of episodes that we can start broadcasting in the United States. Yeah. So I don't know anything about it, but maybe we'll be blissfully rewarded like we were with not being a part of One Piece. Yeah. So maybe we'll just be like, oh, wow, we love Naruto now. So stay tuned. Maybe this will just end up being the live action anime podcast in the future.
Well, and that's fine. And that's fine with me. Like, I'm not going to go look into it. I think I did like one of those, like, quick wiki reads on Naruto. I'm like, this is too much for me to understand. I don't care. I'd rather just go in blind. But, Destin Daniel Cretton, he's got a huge pull. He's doing everything right now, right? Like, everything he's touched has been, I would say gold, but, like, everything, like, Wonder Man, Spider-Man, people love Shang-Chi. He was signed up for the Avengers. Going into Naruto, I'm excited to see his passion project with that, like the action scenes from Spider-Man and Shang-Chi tied into Naruto. I know Naruto, like, there's fighting and like what's it called, chakras and stuff like that. I'm excited to see what he does with all that fun stuff. But like, I guess for X-Men, we saw the casting a couple weeks ago in D23. Do we need Beast in this already big cast already? I think they did it great with Nicholas Hoult. They saved it for Kelsey Grammer the first time, and I think he's coming back in Doomsday. Do we need Beast again so soon, or are we okay to wait until like X-Men 2 again? Right. So we can go either way, but we'll keep you guys posted on if there are any updates in the X-Men world casting. Lastly, X-Men 97 Season 2. We don't have to go in too far depth in this, but we did wrap up Season 2, so if you haven't watched it yet, you can bounce and come back next week, or go watch it and then come back and listen to this. But we both saw it. We wanted to talk about it real fast. I think the one thing I would take away with this was 9 episodes this season instead of 10. They did say they had to trim it to get it out on time. I didn't feel like I noticed a lack of episodes, to be completely honest. It felt pretty focused on like 2 main arcs, one being the Apocalypse arc, the other being the Apocalypse Gambit / what's that other mutant team called? Was it X Corp? The other one.
We had this was like a triple X situation. We had X Corp, X Factor, and then what's the other one? Cable's group. What was Cable's group called?
They were X Factor, weren't they? Or X?
X Factor was the government-run one.
Oh my god! X Force.
They were X Force. That's right. So it was crazy how I wonder if that was the goal from the beginning of just we want 3 X teams to converge in the very final episode. It was a little hard for me to follow the whole apocalypse of it all. Like, it was kind of cool, going forward in time and going back in time. Apocalypse is this inevitability, right? But I was never really totally sure of, like, is he dead yet? Is he not dead yet? Is this like a time loop situation? Can you never kill him? Like, what is the strategy here? And I don't know a whole lot about, like, the deep lore of Apocalypse. Were Celestials, like, always involved with his creation?
Yeah, so that's so when he came out, he was just kind of like, he was just Apocalypse already. But yes, the Celestials gave him, like, they took him as a mutant and, like, enhanced him to where he is way more powerful than he ever would have been naturally, and that's why he has that suit and that futuristic look, rather than, he wasn't born with that look. That they gave him that look.
The animation, especially in his, like, kind of like Egyptian throne room, so slick. Like in the last episode when they, like, go underwater and, like, his, like, mouth is like a doorway and it, like, comes up from the floor. Like, everything looks like so slick in this. I guess per kind of, like, comic book rules, no one can ever really die because you kind of got to bring them back somehow. So Gambit's back. Apocalypse technically is just defeated, but he's trapped inside of a gem, which is kind of a funny way to defeat him, but he could always possibly come back. Sadly, the weakest episode for me was the one that was probably I was most excited for, of how does Wolverine get his adamantium back. It's this kind of odd one-off episode that's really not related to anything else going on in the season, and he gets infected, and then, coincidentally, the only way we can cure him is to just pump adamantium back into him. I was kind of hoping they'd come up with a more clever way of, like, how does Logan get his adamantium back, right? I was looking for, like, maybe a little bit of a philosophical question of just, like, hey, you're finally more human than you've ever been before in your life. Is the adamantium a gift or a curse? Like, do you want to get it back? But they kind of just, let's just almost make it an accident that he gets the adamantium back. So that was a bit of a bummer, but overall, I thought I
think that one had some of the best action. Like, other than, like, in earlier season one, like that scene on the train with, like, the X-Men teams on the train going into Ramatut's city was pretty good. I thought that episode you mentioned, other than just being, like, basic plot beats, like Morph turning into Deadpool and Thor and, like, all these other heroes, was, like, that was really fun to see those cameos, even though they weren't in there. It was just Morph doing that stuff. Along the way, they do talk a lot. Sabretooth got a lot more coverage in this than I thought he would, starting in the second half as well. Like, his son, him and Mystique's son being, like, the person who hates mutants the most, and Mystique being the parent of Rogue and Nightcrawler, and, like, their relationship as brother and sister was really touched on later on, especially, like, in the end when, like, Nightcrawler gives up himself so Rogue doesn't die to save Gambit along the way. A lot more, I guess, team relationships this season than probably previously. I did go back and watch X-Men 94. They do have some Apocalypse episodes back in the original X-Men as well. So I'm glad they didn't, like, they kind of just evolved from that here. Things move pretty fast in the show. Someone did tell me. I'm like, well, that's kind of how these shows work, right? They gotta tell a story pretty quickly. But, like, I don't need to go and learn about Lady Deathstrike again. I get her powers. She has claws and she fights with Wolverine as a bad guy.
I was a big fan of Polaris. I don't really get a lot of engagement with that character, so I thought it was really cool that she kind of was front and center in the back half of this.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, especially because we lost Magneto, right? We need a magnet powered person. I am kind of excited to see where it goes in season 3 and 4. I don't think we got a post credit scene like we did in the first one, right? Like, the first season had Apocalypse picking up Gambit's card, but this one
way less of a cliffhanger in this season.
Yeah. So I'm excited to see where 3 and 4 go. They do, they aren't afraid to pull out deep cut X-Men. Like, Strong Guy being on X-Corp was definitely something I didn't have in my
big guy, tiny glasses. That's my thing. Love that.
they got Dave Bautista to play him in live action. I don't know if you know that or not. I'm kidding. But yeah, I honestly, like, I liked it. It was a good time. We watched we binge watched the end of it this week. But I'm excited for more of this because what I really loved, it's a little thing and it doesn't affect the show at all. Every intro was different. I don't know if you noticed that for the show.
Oh yeah, I did like that.
So like everyone's like, oh, this is the team we're focused on in this episode, and this is the characters in this episode. They kept evolving it along the way, but that theme is such a goddamn banger. Like, why would they say skip intro? I'm never skipping that intro. That's the one I would never skip. Like, so overall, I'm excited to see. It's 2 more seasons. I don't think we need to drag this show on forever. I think they should get to a good wrapping up point because I think with the X-Men coming to live action, by the time season 4 rolls around, I'm like, it's time to wrap this up and maybe tell a new
segue into Spider-Man
story. Yeah,
segue into the animated Spider-Man. I'd love that.
100%. Did you like the Black Widow Captain America cameo at the end of episode 3 when Wolverine's like, I need information, and they're like, what are you doing? I do like that they can pull from the MCU at large, or Marvel animated universe at large, into here for that. So we'll see some of that. But yeah, overall, I had a good time. Looking forward to more. I think the next season 3 and 4 will be like the first 2 purely without Bo DeMayo's grimy little hands all over it. So we'll see how that goes off. But I think they've got plenty of time and plenty of direction stories to tell. So we'll keep you guys posted on that. Anything else you want to add to that before we wrap it up?
No, I think we're good.
Awesome. Well, if that's the case, Mike, if you want to let people know what you're doing, what you're up to, where can they find you at?
Yeah, you can read my webcomics at pickledcomics.com and liferewardsrisk.com. Chris, if people want to catch up with you, where can they find you?
You can find me on Instagram, Valdan87, VALDAN, or video games of the same name. If people know more about the show, our show notes, even merch. That I had to reach out to TeePublic, Mike. They didn't send me one of my shirts, but they fixed it immediately and sent me my missing shirt. So kudos to them. I'm glad we're using them. Where can I get all these goodies at?
Yes, everything we do at the show is over at superheroslate.com. We're on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Spotify, wherever else you're listening to podcasts. We got merch, like Chris was mentioning, at superheroslate.com/store. We got a bunch of new designs over there. Go check them out. And if you want to be a super fan of this show, all you have to do is share the show with a friend, share the show with a buddy, and we'll be here every week, folks.
That's right. We'll catch you guys next week.
Bye.